Hey guys, welcome to another Blender live stream. And we're going to attempt to make this scene here, our modern house, and try to be as detailed as we can be. Let me make sure that everything is running well. Yeah, if you're around, make sure to say hi. Okay. Okay. Let's start. I think we can start by aligning the camera to match the image, the perspectiveness and orientation and everything. So I had switched off. Let me turn on some music here. Darling. Yeah, so I had switched off the grid, but I'll go on and turn it back. Hello, I can't really read that. I don't know what language is that, but what's up? How are you? So I will turn on the grid for now, and so you can see the camera right now doesn't have any background image, but I need to have that. So I'll go down here in the camera settings. I've also added the reference image in another viewport here so that I can easily zoom in or pan out. I usually like using this view here instead of just changing the view to an image editor, because I find it really hard to navigate this view I find this 3D view easier to navigate than the UV editor. So yeah, so to have this image as my background, you can just go to the camera settings here, down, find the background image, then add image, then this. Let's first hide the image that is in the front. Right now you see that it's a bit stretched. So to make it match the image, we can go find the image. Let me find. Where did I download this? Set by date. I think, I don't know. Let me see if I can find the image properties of this. If we go to UV editor, just extend this to the side, and so let me see. There should be, okay, the size is here, 500 by, so to make, because right now, let me first hide this. Right now you can see that the image is stretched. Yeah, my download folder is really messy because I never clean it up. Yeah, so you can see the image is a bit stretched. So you need to match the camera settings to match the image setting here, the image size. So you can see the image size is 564 by 621. So you just go to the camera settings, to the scene settings, dimensions, and change that to 564 by 621. And you can see we have the image, the camera matching the size of the image and the aspect ratio. So we just need to move the camera around, and a way to control the camera much easier is you can add a plane. Make sure it's in the center by clearing the rotation and scale, and then the rotation and and the position, and then you can set cursor cursor to selected, select the camera, and then hit comma, hit full stop, and then change the pivot point to 3D cursor. Now when you rotate, you can see you're rotating almost the entire scene, so we can rotate this until we find a good orientation. You can also use the parallel lines of your scene. You can rotate this. It's really hard to get the exact match because you're just eyeballing this. So you can also, if you see that some of these parallel lines are not matching, you can come to the camera settings and try playing around with the size of the lens, the focal length. So let's try maybe. Let's try 40 and see. Then move the camera again. Maybe rotate it in the Y direction. You don't need to get a perfect match. You just need something to work with to make it easier. I think the distortion is a bit too much. So let's see. Hey Dan, what's up? How are you? Let's see, 45. That rotate. I think that's good enough. There's still a lot of distortion that is not matching the perspective of the image, but we can work with this. Let me put back some music here. And yes, let's begin. So now that we have everything down, we can start with the floor here. And maybe what we can do, we can just subdivide this area. Maintain this as the camera view, and then we can use this to edit our scene. I'll just change the cursor to median point. I'll pull this around there. There's a plugin that you can use to match the camera settings, but I think it's not yet supported by 2.8. So if you want to check that out, maybe after it's supported, you can try and use that. But for the case of this tutorial, it's not really necessary. It is necessary, but what you're gonna do, you don't really. It's not supported yet. Let's see. Let me just make this, eyeball this. I'll add a few loops like that. I'm trying to get the general shape. Yeah, I know there are a lot of camera plugins, but they are not supported by 2.8, and I really want to be using 2.8. So that's why I'm not using any of that. Can extrude this. Let me turn on cavity and maybe shadows so that I can see the shapes clearly. And This camera orientation is really throwing me off, so I think it's a let's try 28 and see. Again, reorient this camera a bit, just so cursor, rotate this. You know what, I'm not going to use this background image because it's really confusing me, so let me just ignore it and model everything directly with my eyes. So just switch off the grid overlay, turn off the grid, and let's begin from scratch. Just add where is this? Where is everything going? Let me just start the entire project. Okay. Let me get the background images again. So just start the entire project from scratch. Turn off the grid here. This will be my reference image. This can also put it around here. So we can start with this sidewalk, or should we start with the building? Let's start with the building block. So just create a plane. So I can I'm not going to do any measurements or anything. I'm just going to eyeball everything. As long as the final thing looks good, I'm okay with that. So let's see. So this is this bottom floor, and we can have around here. Maybe we can extend this, and also we need to pull this around there to accommodate this room here. I think it's a bit smaller, so we can select this loop around there. And now let's see. This also protrudes out a bit. Roger, Wagins, how are you? End screencast keys plugin for 2.8. I've tried a lot of things, but I don't think there is a plugin that was supported by 2.79 for screencast, but it hasn't been supported by 2.8. I think the guy who developed it made an update for 2.8, but then Blender 2.8 was again changed, and it broke the plugin again, so I think he needs to update it again. I haven't been able to find an alternative. I tried using an OBS plugin that just puts the overlays directly, but it also failed to work for me. So now, okay, I need to model this separately because I can use an array for this and duplicate it at the top here. So let's first wait to make this top flow. I guess I can also turn on random colors here. Turn on cavity, maybe shadows. What I like to do is separate these. So let's first maybe work on this here because this bottom flow is a bit easier, doesn't have a lot of detail, and if we get this, we can also just duplicate it for the top part. So let's add this door here, or a line to mark a loop around here and follow this beam here. So I can be around there, and another one to accommodate these top windows, and another loop here for this here. So it could be around here. Let's add another loop for this. So we're just marking out the shape like that. So instead of adding a loop here and then adding another one here, it will lead us to make uneven sizes here. So what I like doing is adding a loop in the center like this, and then using the bevel tool to bevel that edge to the size I want, to something like that. And see, now this side is the same side as this side. And let's see. So we can also cut out shapes for these holes for this. So around there, and then we can bevel that around there, and we can also add another loop for that window. And I think this needs to extend a bit further, so we can select these two, go to edit mode for both of them, then go to wireframe, and I can select these here. I go to front view, no, side view, like this. Then select these, pull them out like that, and we have something like that. So I just need to add another loop here, bevel that to accommodate this window, and maybe another loop to show where that should go around there. Let's see. I think we also need another loop for this support beam. Now we can to make this much easier, we can select this entire part. I think it starts from here, and make it separate. We don't need it, so just hit Y and then P. So this is now separate, so we can hide this and work only on this here. So since we have this loop here, we can bevel it to the size of this wood, and maybe, and now we can add a loop here for this part here, and we can select, go to face mode, select here up to here, and use this bevel along normals to extrude inside like that. But we need to fix this part here. So you can go to wireframe, select this line, scale it in the x-axis 0, and then select this line, scale it in the y-axis by 0. So we have something like that. I think it's a bit deep, so we can just push it back a bit around there. So this as well. We have that. We don't need to be that detailed right now, so we can go and start working on this side here. I think this was also pushed in a bit, so up to here. This entire thing is also pushed in a bit, so we just need to extrude along normals just a little bit like that. Now we can come in again and fix this edge here. Let me turn back the music, turn on the music again. Grab this to select this here. Oh, let's just select this entire line, flatten it, select this here, make it flat. So we have that. Now you can see we also need this to add a loop here, something like that. I'm thinking maybe I should just make these separate, but let's try this. If we add a loop around here, we can then delete this part here, and then select these edges, then extrude that down to have that corner. Then we just need to add a loop here, then bridge these faces. Again, you can be as detailed as you want to be. Depends what you are going for. So we also don't need these bottom faces for now, so we can just delete them. Faces. Now we can create the profiles for the, I think they're called frames or bevels. So we just need to create one shape. So we can come in here. We can create the frame, the window frames. I just insert and then delete the face, then extrude, then we just add a loop inside here, Control B to bevel that loop, then extrude along normals like that, then you can add another loop, bevel that, then extrude along normals to the inside like that. And you can also add in a Bevel Modifier, then reduce the size a bit. You can also apply scale and rotation. So now that we have that, we can use that as the shape of the frames here. Let's begin by creating frames here for this part here. So I'll rotate these 90 degrees. Let's see. Grab this, the X direction. Now we can just go to wireframe, box select this, pull that down like that, maybe here like this, Shift D, duplicate, and you can bring this closer. And we just need to close the gap here. Then for this here, again we just duplicate these, Shift D, then move them in the Z axis, and grab these, push them down like that. Can move this to the edge. Okay, I think so. Just to make this easier, I can just extrude this part here like that. Now we just need to duplicate these to the other side. So, hello Keuna. Sorry for the pronunciation. Rotate 90 degrees. So let's see. Move this in as well. So we'll be giving these this plane here, these faces, a different material for the glasses. Select these. So they have 4 windows or doors. Shift D, duplicate these. You have something like that. Now we can unhide the other parts behind. We can start creating the frames for those windows. So we can select these here. Extrude inside. We'll add this frame there later, but we can just create the space for that right now. And I guess we can add a loop here for these frames here, and I think it should stop around here. And then we can select these faces here, extrude them in like that. We can start from here and there, extrude them in. Select this, extrude in for the door, like that. So for here, we can start working on this bottom side, bottom floor. We need to add a loop around here for this concrete block. So I can select this face and this, and then extrude from normals. Make sure I have that selected. And always make sure to fix those issues there. So scale this in the x-axis and this in the y-axis, like that. Then we can insert this, because I imagine that this is not just a concrete block, it's something that has maybe grass or plants inside, so we can extrude that inside like that. Add a loop around here for this here, and I also imagine it goes around, so maybe you can select these faces like this, extrude along normals, around. Let's see, something like that. Now we just need to correct so that they are aligned. Let's get this. Maybe we can extend this back side to around there. Okay, this should also be extended a bit. If there are any shortcuts that I'm using that you don't get, you can ask me and I'll make sure to explain them a bit more. So we have something like that. should we add? Let's see what. I think this also extends to the front. Something like that. And we can now start working on this vegetation or landscaping. Let's add a plane. I'll subdivide it a few times. Grab these, turn on proportional editing. Extrude. I think this is around here. So we can select this here, turn off proportional editing. Let's see. So this part here, we can begin by, let's see. So this extends out around here. We can start by blocking out other shapes. Extrude. Then we can extrude this down like that. But this is not just a block, it's I think some kind of pentagon blocks that are put together. So let's add a few cuts here, maybe around there. Then we can delete parts like that, break that and that. But it's not just a block like this. These are, I don't know if they're called pentagons or what. So let's add a circle, reduce the number to about 6. Yeah, I think it's 6. Then go to edit mode, extrude these inside like that, and then extrude, select everything and then extrude down like that. If you want, you can add a bevel modifier. Make sure to apply the scale and rotation and reduce the width. So let's see how we are going to arrange this. Just move this here. It's a little bit outside of that, and I use the array modifier in the negative y direction, -1. Then we can duplicate this 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's use 4 like this. Use Alt D to duplicate this, then move this a few steps like that, and yeah, maybe 9 steps. Alt D, duplicate this, move this back, and this will be more steps like this, and then we can just copy this array, and instead of y we can use the z, -1 in the z direction, and reduce the count to something like 3. But you can, let's first hide this and turn back the music again. Hey baby hologram, what's up? How are you? Thank you. You're welcome. So you can see they're just lines, they're just parallel to each other, they're stacked on top of each other, but we need them to be placed like you see here. So we just need to extend the y direction a few steps like that, and we will have something like that. We can come back later and fix this gap here. Let's add these windows here. Just add a few loops here. Then I'll bevel this. Select those loops and bevel them. Ctrl B to around. You know what? Let's first increase the distance between these gaps here, these windows. So then you can select them and then Ctrl B to bevel them like that. I think we can bring them closer now. Then add a loop around there, select the faces, then extrude inside like that. Now I think we can Shift D, duplicate this, move it up to around there, and this will be our top floor. You can see the design is a bit different from the lower floor, so we don't need this here. Delete vertices, then close those gaps. So this extends down, so extrude in like that, and that's the only window this side. Then what else? So for this part here, we can, let me see, I'm tempted to just use Alt D to drag and drag it up like that, but it's a bit different. The design is also different. It's not exactly the same design. So we can work on this patio here. I'll just add a plane. I think it's around here. Select this side, and it extends up to around here, I think. Solid. Can extrude it down. This front has to extend a bit, but it doesn't go all the way to this side, so I think it ends around there. And we also need to extrude this. Just hit E and then Alt S to extend this along the normals, something like that. Now for these rails, guard rails, we can just, those are very easy to make. We just add a plane like this. Make sure the size is the size you want. So I think they go to around here. I also think this part here extends a bit forward. It also should let's first work on these guardrails. Edit mode, select this here, then extrude. I think it ends around there. Now we can add a few loops here, then also a few here and a few here. Then we can add a skin modifier. Edit mode, go to edit mode and then Ctrl A to scale down those rails like that. And if you want to extend them here, also just need to select this, extrude in that direction like that. Now we can duplicate this for the top like that. Make sure to select this side and extend it. But this area here, let me first hide this. Extends all the way, so we can select this part, then extrude it up, then extrude again. Yes, we can select this part, move it up so that it's not intersecting the bottom floor.